time for the Pucking Around podcast. Puck around and find out. Hey everybody, welcome to Pucking Around. It's episode 32 already. So as you can see, we're a bit of a sort of cut down version of our crew. And we are gonna talk about top 10 draft. The draft is coming up less than 2 weeks now as we're recording this, and we're gonna talk about the top 10, maybe a little bit more than the top 10, but the early part of the draft. I'm gonna put these two guys on the spot, and I'm gonna ask them for their top 5 predictions at the draft, which is it's a very dicey thing because it's really who knows. There's a new, and I don't know where this comes from, but I got this from Twitter. Somebody putting out their rankings. It looks official. I kind of think they're bogus. They're crazy. We're gonna look at that, talk about that. We're going to take a look at the Stanley Cup final. Edmonton managed to win Game 4 and keep themselves alive. The question is, can Edmonton come back all the way in this series? We're going to talk about that. Flyers fans are eagerly awaiting news on Michkov. I don't know if there is any, but Alex is our resident Flyers fan, and he's going to update us on that. I'm going to ask the question, is Connor McDavid legitimately one of the all-time greats? Because he just passed Wayne Gretzky
most assists in a single playoff run
ever in the NHL, the most assists in a playoff run, passing Wayne Gretzky. And then since it's the finals, who should win the Conn Smythe Trophy? Connor McDavid or Sergei Bobrovsky? That's the question in front of everybody here tonight. I'm going to introduce you to my 2 co-stars. On my right, that's the wrong one, but that's my right arm, so that's why. But on my right is Matt, and he's my co-host over there on Talking Habs most nights, some nights, often. And then we got Alex on the other side, and Alex is the host and the creator of Flyera Gonna Flyera. That's a podcast right here, not right here actually. It's on our other channel, Don't Puck with Media. So links are in the description. Please check that out. And then there's me, who's without me, what is there?
Well, the average age goes down by about 8 or 9 years.
A lot more than that, actually.
Well, I'm counting Cam and Harry.
And he's fired. He's also fired.
All right. I'm going to have to go solo now.
All right. So, guys, we're going to talk about the top 10 or abouts in the draft. And the reason I say abouts, because the Flyers are number 12. Alex is here, so we don't want to preclude him from
my team better get some inclusion in this.
Now, that's to say, next week the pod is on 4 days before the draft, so we're going to delve a little bit more into the draft on that show, and then we're going to do a show for the draft, and then we're going to do a pod right after on the Monday, and we're going to talk about what happened. So that's how we're going to do that here on Pucking Around.
And don't forget, Rick, that's going to be a live show too.
True. Well, the draft is going to be a live show. So it's a live stream for the draft. And I do believe the Pucking Around on the following Monday of it is also going to be live. So please check that out. And that's on Don't Puck with Media. That's our well, for me and Matt, that's our newest channel. For Alex, it's newer, but it's his first. The link is in the description for that. If you don't know about it, please head over there after this video and check it out and give us a subscribe. We could use that, and we really appreciate that. All right, we are going to talk about the draft. Have you guys, because we've talked about the draft before, and it's very what's the word? It's very fluid what's going on, like with the rankings and who might go where. So what we might have been talking about like a week ago is kind of different already today, and we're still just a little less than like a week and a half away from the draft. So have your guys' opinions, and they're looking at me like, what is he even speaking English? That's what I'm looking at. Have your guys' opinions changed on anything in that top? I'm going to say 15 and down.
I mean, a little bit. One thing that seems like it's starting to get a little more concrete is Chicago seems like they're honing in, and Artyom Lezhinov, I don't even know how to pronounce this dude's name.
Levshunov.
Yeah. He's a right-handed defenseman out of Michigan State. Seems like he's a really good elite future number one defenseman in the league. Chicago has a good amount of center prospects. They have one good, decent left winger. They have Oliver Moore, obviously Connor Bedard. I'm forgetting who they've
got another pick in the first round, I believe, as well. So I think they have
pick. I think it's like 18. I want to say
something like that. Yeah. So they have another pick there that they can also work with, and grab a forward if that's
Chicago still has that hole at who they believe their future number one defenseman could be. And how do you say his name again?
Levshunov.
Again, this dude's name has been a pain in the ass for me to pronounce. But Levshunov.
You can't pronounce the names anyway.
Well, you know what? Shut up, because you can't either.
No, I can't.
I think it's the Boston accent. That's really what it is.
You tell me you see that name and how you're going to pronounce that at first. But Artyom Levshunov just looks like I've watched a little bit of his highlights at Michigan State. He looks like he's a very sound defenseman, strong in his own end, doesn't turn the puck over, high hockey IQ. He seems like a guy that would mesh with a future core with a guy like Connor Bedard, obviously. You have Oliver Moore coming in the prospect pool. So this Chicago's starting to get a few pieces, and they look like they're ready to spend a little bit of money as well on maybe some younger pieces in free agency. So I think a guy like him seems like is settling in to truly be that number 2 pick. But after that, I feel like it's become a very fluid situation. Demidov, Lindstrom, Bynum, Berkeley Catton, Yzerman, who's been all over the fucking board from picks 4 to 24, depending on who you ask. Sam Dickinson, who my co-host Jamie loves. There's a lot of interesting names. Trevor Connolly is a very underrated name, too. I've heard
he's got baggage. Got baggage.
I've heard a lot of people think that this guy has high potential, but his size could limit him. So that's another guy that I've been keeping.
Got high potential, got big skills from what I understand, but he's going to drop, I think, because of he's got some. I don't know exactly, but it's like on the line of racism kind of thing, baggage from what I heard.
One of those.
He said some things. I don't know if it's racist. I don't know if it's homophobic. I don't know what exactly, but it's along those lines, and this could affect his. You got to deal with that.
I mean, you might get some baggage there. I feel like a lot of these guys have a little bit of baggage in different perspectives.
Yeah, but not like that.
His being obviously like an off the ice type of thing that deals with him saying or doing something stupid.
Yeah.
So, in that retrospect, and then you have a guy like Caden Lindstrom, who we have talked about off the air. You guys mentioned to me that he has a herniated disc and has some potential back problems where his frame 6'4". I feel like he plays a really strong game, could be a good power forward in the league for a while. But again, he's the type of guy who could wear down by age 29, 30 with that style of play. So, I mean, I feel like pick 1 and maybe a little bit pick 2 is starting to solidify. But after that, it feels like it could go all over. I personally have a handful of guys that I want the Flyers to get, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But I do agree that things have already changed a little bit. Picks, now I'm going to probably say 3 to about 14 or 15 are really fluid right now. With ranges for all these guys. Some guys maybe range like 3 to 7, where another guy might range like 5 to 11, and another one could be like 15 to 3. Who knows?
Yeah, you don't know. It could be in the top 10. It could be outside. By the way, before we go on, plug your pod, because you just said about the mock draft for the Flyers. You're going to tackle that On Flyer,
So,
gonna flyer.
Flyer gonna flyer. Me,
on Friday.
Jamie, and Dylan are gonna have some mock drafts for you guys. This should be released probably Friday afternoon. So
Yeah,
keep
Friday
your eyes open for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna be giving our mock drafts. Hopefully we'll have an idea where our second first round pick is by then. I'm pretty much anticipating it to be pick 32, but besides the point. But so we should have a good idea where we're at from there. And we're going to give you a little more in-depth analysis for all of these guys then. But right now, it's more of a short summary. Hey, Sleeping Beauty over in the corner. What do you think?
Looks like he's sleeping too.
What
are you, Matt?
on my calendar.
Yeah. Okay, you're gonna give your.
Looks like he was in a trance.
Okay, so Matt, what's changed for you in the top 10? In the top 10 there. We've talked many times, and I'm talking. You're talking over me. We've talked many times about it on the other pod as well. Have normals. We've talked many times. So yeah, what's changed for you?
Hey, for me, really, the only big thing is I really do think Lev Shinov's going to go second. I think for me, and we'll go into this later when Alex and I kind of reveal our predictions for the top 5. But I think obviously Celebrini set in stone at 1. I think the Blackhawks, because they do have that other pick now, in they're picking 16 now or 18?
18, somewhere outside the top 15. I don't know exactly where.
I think they used that pick on a forward, and I think the reason they made that trade was to say, okay, we have another pick where there's going to be a pretty decent forward there. So now we can go and get this big D-man we're going to need to pair with Korchinski down the road. So I really think Lev Shinov goes second. I mean, after that, I'm still so undecided. With Anaheim, I feel like they're waiting to see what happens with Zegras, because I feel like if they move Zegras, maybe they go forward. But at the same time, I do think they need D-men. So, I could see a guy like Zeev Buium going there. To be totally honest, I think he very likely could go in that 3 spot.
There's new rankings. Buium's ranked right there at 3.
Yeah. And then, Columbus is a huge wild card because they need goddamn
They're going to screw up whatever.
They need everything.
Well, from what Waddell, who is the new GM there, is saying, it's size up front. So to me,
that could be a Caden Lindstrom call.
They interviewed Lindstrom, they interviewed Seneca, and they're interested in him as well. Seneca could go, and apparently Anaheim is not interested in a Russian. They're interested in someone like Seneca. They've interviewed him. That's how wild it is. Seneca could go 3.
Yeah,
Demidov could end up in Columbus, and that poor guy if that happens.
Yeah, it's so unpredictable. I think at the end of the day, and I'll speak on the Habs now because obviously that is my team. I think we really kind of comes down to who's there, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to end up being one of Demidov, Seneca, Lidstrom, or Iginla. Starting to kind of feel away from Iginla. I really think they like one of Lidstrom or Seneca.
It's seemingly like
as much
as I don't want to hear this, I've been hearing this a little bit too.
Yeah.
So.
But again, it's not a bad thing because I think Seneca and Lidstrom are both really good picks there, regardless.
Yeah, that's
I tend to lean towards Seneca because Lidstrom's got dealing with that herniated disc. The broken hand's kind of whatever. That heals, he's fine. But the herniated disc and his size, it's kind of something where you kind of have to look at it and it's kind of like a Mets and Mets type thing. I don't think it should keep a team from drafting him, but I think it's a team like the Habs that's had injury issues. You look at that couple with his size and you go, well, it's something that could get aggravated throughout his career. It's something that might not. So I kind of, for me, I think it's going to be Seneca or Iginla, one of those two. But again, there's 4 guys it could be right now.
I think Columbus
is so unpredictable.
To add on to something you just did, I think Columbus truly is the biggest wild card in this. I could legitimately see them trade down if they feel like they could get their guy at pick 7 and maybe the first rounder.
I get that, but apparently they're interested in a forward, either highly skilled and size. So that says Demidov and Lindstrom, and I think they're going to grab one of those 2 guys. I don't know which. That's where I think for me is I don't know which. And one of those two guys will be there.
Most
Right?
likely, yeah.
I think so. It wouldn't shock me on and again, not to reveal my whole top 5, but for me, my top 3 right now, it's Celebrini, Levshinov, Boyum, and then I won't say the last 2. I'll keep it to that segment, but for me, that's my top 3 right now. I think that's how it's gonna go.
For me, the surprise in this draft is in the top 10 from before is only I've done some research, listened to some podcasts, listened to some people. So it's just that still the unknown of it. We're getting this close to the damn draft, and you look at a list like this here, the rank, which are so far off of what we've kind of heard in ways, right? There's guys in here that guys that should be there, and guys that have made either a jump in the last week, or I think this is not really a serious thing. There's guys that here placed that doesn't make sense.
Wasn't like Cellular for the longest time in like the top 5?
Who? Seneca?
No, Anton Cellular.
Oh yeah. Salayev,
he was like in the top 7, top 5 for a long time.
Yeah, I don't see that. Look, Seneca at 19 here, right?
Well, Lindstrom dropping a 9 on that list is interesting for sure.
If Seneca's being interviewed by Anaheim and he's listed here at 19, that doesn't make sense. Lindstrom, not so bad. He's been anywhere from 3 to 8. So him being at 9's not out of the question, really.
If we get Liam Greentree at 12, I'm putting my head through a wall.
Yeah, Greentree.
Not in a good way.
Greentree at 11, I don't think so. And even Yzerman at 12, maybe, but I think he's dropping. I don't know. I don't have Yzerman ahead of Seneca. I don't see how that's possible.
But again, Yzerman's another guy where it's like, I know he's really one-dimensional now, but I think he'll be able to work on the other facets of his game at BU and develop that. So I think, again, teams that follow the college game a lot that really look into that might see that and go, well, maybe Yzerman's worth in the top 10. But again, I don't know.
I think Yzerman's going to go 15 to 20, somewhere in there, personally, for me. So for the top 10, there's some surprises in there, and you know what? It doesn't mean we know what's going on. Going into the draft, at the end of the season and stuff, talking about it, it's going to be all defensemen at the top, Then it was so many forwards. Then they're back with defensemen. Then now it's forwards. It's hard to tell, really, who these guys are going to, how they're going to go. So in that vein, who wants to go first? Top 5 predictions.
Go ahead,
Matt. Go first.
The floor is yours.
All right. Well, first overall, Macklin Celebrini. I think that's pretty much a consensus. Second overall to the Blackhawks, Levshinov. Third overall to Anaheim, Zeev Buim, as I've stated. And also with Anaheim, obviously trading Jamie Drysdale. They kind of need a playmaker back there on defense to move the puck. So I think William really does make a lot of sense there. Fourth overall is a wild card, but for me, I think Columbus does want to probably lean more towards size. I like Caden Lindstrom there. And then fifth to the Habs. I got a sneaking suspicion it's Demidov if he's there. If Demidov's not there, it's Seneca, but I'm going to go Demidov.
Interesting. For me, 1 and 2 are the same as Matt. Macklin Celebrini is 1. Leshinov is 2. For number 3, I got a little bit. I got Saliev from Anton Saliev.
Yeah, Saliev.
Saliev. I don't know how to pronounce it again.
Yeah, I think that's also very possible. Like I mean, this Rick just put up with him at 17. I'm like, the dude's been a top 5 prospect for fucking ever. Like, what happened?
A top 10 pick easy.
You guys talked over it, but I'm hearing it's Ferraro there, right? No, is it Ferraro? That's the who's the GM there? Anyway,
in Anaheim, I have no idea.
Anyways, I'm hearing not high on Russians, and I had first heard they're not shy to draft Russians, and now I'm hearing maybe not so much. So
I don't think they're going to get Demidov just because they need a little more size. And as Matt mentioned, they need a little more help in the back end when it comes to their prospects. The current decor right now is trash. They got one or two quality defensemen. They still need to add to it. Number 4, Columbus should get Ivan Demidov, I would say, but it's Columbus, and they could find a way to screw it up somehow and get Pareka and make me wonder what's wrong with their organization again. But and then number 5, I think the Habs get Caden Lindstrom. I think he is a good fit there. Big body center. I know he's got the back issues, but I think he'd be a good, true top 6 center that they'd be looking for with a little bit of girth and prowess.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of his floor is top 6, like a second line C.
Yeah.
Is basically his floor. So, I mean, he's going to be a good player. And I think those 4 guys that we're talking about for the Habs, all 4 of them are top 6. I think Seneca's the more risky one there. His floor might be a little lower. Anyways, okay, here's mine. Don't disagree with you guys, obviously, about Celebrini. And from what I'm hearing for Chicago, coming from scouts and stuff, yeah, they're leaning towards Levshunov. Apparently it's Lev Shunov. Easy to say Levshunov, but it's Levshunov. Apparently this is true. They're looking at Levshunov as their pick. Okay, so that's out of the way. Personally, I think it's either him or they take Demidov. Why? They got 2 skilled. That guy can play on the wing for Bedard. I mean, it makes sense to me. So I think it's
really where do they want to pair? Because Korchinski, I think, is going to be a top pair D-man for them for a long time.
Yeah.
Do they take his partner or do they take Bedard's partner? Is really kind of what it comes down to.
The only reason why I don't think they're going to pick him is because they would have a very small top line if they did that. It's too small.
True. Okay, true, but you can find a big winger for the other side. That can balance it out. It's kind of
but I feel like you want to have a little more size. But I mean, from a talent perspective, it makes sense for sure.
But it's kind of what Montreal's doing, and it's working so far on that first line. Okay, also Levshunov, Matt earlier when we first got on said he's huge. He isn't. He's only 6'2", which is not bad, but that's pretty average for a defenseman. He's
strong though. Like he's when I say huge, he's built like a tank.
Huge.
But he's not huge. And I'm also hearing maybe a little overrated. But that could be just that person's opinion, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything. So understanding but I think Levshunov is the guy. For Anaheim, I kind of think they need size up front. And if Trevor Zegras is going to be traded, they need a center. Potentially, and I think that guy is Lindstrom, and I think Lindstrom, and if not Lindstrom, honestly, it's going to be between and the 2 guys that I mentioned that they interviewed, Seneca or Lindstrom. They've got that size that they're looking for. Seneca has a really high ceiling, but he has the lowest floor of those 4 guys. Apparently, he's got the lowest floor, so there's a little more risk, but he could be a higher payoff. That's from what I'm hearing. Okay, so for Columbus also interviewed Lindstrom and Seneca. So I think Lindstrom will be gone. I do think now that Lindstrom will go there. It's between Seneca, and you're going to be the surprise here is what I'm hearing from a source that I watched that I think knows what he's talking about. They're interested in Yakimchuk as a defenseman. I know you might say that's a bit of a stretch, right? A little bit of a reach, but Yakimchuk is rated up somewhere around 10.
Yeah, he's like that. He's around our area.
Around your area. But in this draft, as we've said, it's not out of the question, right?
No, it's not.
If that's who they like, and he's got the tools. He's a good, solid prospect. There's no doubt. So I think it's between Seneca and Yakimchuk. I'm not going to pick one because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how to settle on one there. That leaves for Montreal, in my opinion, Demidov is going to be there as a choice. Iginla. And if Seneca's not taken, I think Seneca. If Lindstrom hasn't been taken, and you got to consider. And I think, seriously, I don't know if you can say it's one of those 4 guys. I don't think they go defenseman.
No, I doubt it.
There's no need for them to go defenseman. So I don't think they do. So I think it's between one of those 4. Do I want to settle on?
And I know the look you're about to give me and what you're about to tell me. Don't count Cole Eiserman out of that spot either. There's something there with that partnership with.
Why do I?
Important.
Why am I going to count them out?
East guys and.
Why am I going to count them out? Here's why. Ceiling and floor.
Yeah.
These guys that I mentioned, their ceiling, everybody agrees, is a top 6 forward. Floor. That's their floor. Their ceiling, top line. Start. Like that's their. So I don't think Eiserman has that.
It
can't.
Depends on how well he worked around his game out in college.
They can't take the risk on Eiserman at 5.
I agree.
Too much of a risk when there's better options there. So that's as close. So my opinion, what I want either Iginla or Seneca.
So what you're pretty much saying is you think Eiserman's floor is lower than these guys.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I think
that's fair. I think as of right now, it definitely is.
And his ceiling has to be.
I don't want to count out how he can develop at Boston University.
But his ceiling has to be lower too. His ceiling has to be lower because he's got a lot of shit to work on. So his ceiling can't be as high.
No, it does. No, he does. But I think if there's a team there that needs like a pure scorer, he's a bona fide top 6 scorer.
Yeah, okay. And there'll be a team that will take him and he'll go in the first round without a doubt. But I don't think in the top 5, I don't think in the top 10 for Eiserman either. He's going to be outside of the top 10.
No, I think that's fair.
All my opinion. All right, let's move on. Let's do just quickly. Because
I mentioned I'm a BU fan.
Listen, but okay, we all have our little biases here too.
No, I know.
Right?
I don't. I think what you're saying is totally fair.
And also, quite frankly, your opinion might be more valuable than mine. We don't know. Right? It might turn out that I don't know, but I mean, we're just giving our opinions. So, all right, let's move on to Stanley Cup Finals. Game 5 is tomorrow, so let's get this question. Since this thing will come out before the finals start, that game started. Could be the last game. Could be all over. Can Edmonton come back all the way because they won Game 4? Are they back in the game in the series, and can they come back enough to bring it to Game 7? Let's say.
I'm gonna
David's
say
gonna have to carry him again. I think that's the only way they can win this series. If Bob's lights out again, they're done. And I don't think they have enough, especially in net. Stuart Skinner's not good. They're not really that good on defense either. Like McDavid's gonna have to carry him if they want to come back in this series. Florida's too complete. They're too good. They're gonna be pretty pissed off out of the gate tomorrow. I feel it's gonna be a tall task.
What do you think, Alex?
I'm going to say I do think it's possible. Obviously, it's not very likely. If I had to put a percent on it, 8 to 9%. Like, I think if they're going to get back in this, they're going to have to outscore them. They're going to have to win these games where they are putting up 4 to 5 goals consistently. Because I don't trust Stuart Skinner to play consistently well against the depth that Florida has and all their talent in the top 6. I think, as Matt mentioned, too, that team's going to come out like a herd of bulls and just beat the crap out of Edmonton in Game 5, just angry how Game 4 went and how badly they got embarrassed. I'm not saying that means Edmonton has no shot, but I anticipate a storm in the first period from Florida. I will say this. If Edmonton wins Game 5 and outplays Florida, I think it goes 7. I don't think Florida goes into Edmonton Game 6 after getting an absolute ass-kicking that they got in Game 4 and giving Edmonton a counterpunch in Game 5. And if Edmonton can persevere that counterpunch and somehow win that game in a semi-convincing fashion, I think Florida's going to have a seed of doubt in their mind suddenly. Like, crap, we just gave these guys one wicked right hand, and they caught the punch and said, game the fuck on. So Edmonton doesn't have the depth. And as I went over a few weeks ago when we all predicted the Cup final, I originally thought it was McDavid's time, and they went down 3-0. I predicted that the home team was going to win every game except Game 7. Obviously, that didn't happen when Edmonton charted all over themselves in Game 3, but that's besides the point. But they have the top-end talent. They have the best player in the world. They have another top-5 player. They have another elite scoring winger in the Nuge. Evan Bouchard is one of the better defensemen in the league. Darnell Nurse is there. That's all I'm going to give him. He sucks. Same with Cody Ceci. Those are the two albatrosses you worry about. Evander Kane's been getting healthy scratch, too, which is interesting to me, too. Have you guys noticed that? I think he got healthy scratch, the last 2 games?
Who's that?
Evander Kane?
I think he's injured. I think he's got some.
I thought he was healthy scratched.
I don't know if he's a healthy scratch.
I might be wrong with that. I thought I saw that he was healthy scratched. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really noticed, but now that you mention it, it's true. I didn't notice him at all in the last game. But I think he's got something wrong with him.
I will say
why else wouldn't they play Evander Kane? I mean,
I don't know. That's why I found it a little strange because I don't think he's played the last 2 games. I'll look into that a little later. But if Edmonton's going to win, they're going to need their stars to continue to be stars because they were not stars in the first 3 games. Connor McDavid was limited to 1 assist. Game 4, he had a 1-goal, 3-assist game and played like Connor McDavid that we know.
Yeah,
they're going to have to be carried by their top-end talent because they don't have the depth to keep up with Florida. I don't trust Edmonton's 3rd and 4th line against Florida's 3rd and 4th line. I don't trust Stuart Skinner against Sergei Bobrovsky. I don't trust the decor that Edmonton has as a whole against Florida's decor. I think Evan Bouchard is the best defenseman in this series, but overall, I don't think they have the best decor. So if Edmonton's going to win this series, simply put, I know I sound like a broken record, the stars are going to have to be stars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that's enough. I mean, think about it, right? They lost the first
That's
game.
if that's even enough. Correct.
Is Florida going to lose 4 games in a row in playoffs?
I don't think it happens. Like
really
I said, I gave
unlikely.
like an 8% chance. I think
realistically,
I think it wraps it up tomorrow.
It's so unlikely. I'm a firm believer, though, that you win Game 5. I see a lot of teams that win Game 5 go on to win the series, but down 3-0 to start with. I don't know the numbers there. I doubt that's the case. I think that's when you're tied at 2. Who wins the 5th game often goes on to win the series. I don't think that's in this case here. I don't think, as you said, I don't think they have the team. I don't trust. While Skinner had a good game, he did.
He did.
Can he have 4 good games like that in a row? Possibly. There is an interesting stat, and this is it. Edmonton, during the regular season, they lost 3 games in a row. They came back one time. They won 8. Another time, 16 in a row.
I saw this, yeah.
Another time, 5. Does that translate into the playoffs, though? I don't think so. Regular season is really different. But it's an interesting stat. Do they come back all the way? No. Do they come back at all? I really want it to be over at this point, and I'm going to say Florida is going to do they're going to come out and kick ass. And I don't know that Edmonton has the answer to that. If Florida really comes out and like bulls in a china shop, just demolishes them physically, does Edmonton have an answer for that?
I'll say this. Edmonton, what the hell are you doing?
I don't know. He's on camera. I don't know if he knows that.
I don't give a shit.
But I will say this. Florida's best punch is a hell of a lot better than Edmonton's.
Yeah, right now. Yeah,
Florida's best over Edmonton's best, for sure.
They're the better team. The better team usually overcomes.
And like I said 2 weeks ago, everything points to Florida winning this series. I originally thought Edmonton could do it, but they had to win Game 3. They didn't.
And by the way, you can congratulate me in advance because I win the bracket challenge.
Golf clap.
Thank you. What's the prize, by the way?
You
Matt
get
knows. Matt set it up. I wasn't going to. So Matt, what's the prize?
Sloppy kiss on the lips.
Because BL
he's gonna
Duff,
give him a gift card to Denny's.
BL Duff is second, so whoever is in second is gonna, if there's a prize, gonna win. So if you're watching, and we haven't decided yet.
Person in second has to kiss the person in first on the lips.
Yeah, we talked about it on in the
Give him
stream.
a big old pecker smooch.
Yeah, he's gonna turn that prize, and so am I. I'm not gonna. I want to be any part of that. All right.
Honestly, I'll be honest. I didn't have a prize in mind. I just wanted to do it for fun.
Yeah, I thought so, but anyways, we might give a prize.
I really hope you weren't serious about the pecker smooch thing. You don't want to know what a pecker smooch is.
Yeah, we don't want to do that here. Okay, Alex, try very quickly because I don't think there's much here. But update. The reason why this question is basically because Jamie was supposed to be here. Jamie couldn't make it, but I figure also what's going on. Is there any news at all on the announcement of Matvei Michkov joining the team in Philadelphia this year?
As of right now, it's still status quo. There hasn't been too much in the Michkov front. He did post a new picture on his Instagram today, working out in Russian national team clothes. It's not SKA, but it was a thing. I thought maybe I saw some orange on his shorts. Maybe they were Flyers shorts. He's been working out multiple times in Flyers clothing. So with his smoke, there's fire. And then obviously with all the news we're hearing, I still think he comes. I think we'll have a lot better idea maybe 2 weeks from now, because the original announcement is they'd have a resolution to this by the end of June. Okay. I don't think it'll be next week this time, but maybe 2 weeks from now, we will know pretty clearly, officially, whether or not he's coming. But right now, it's still pretty, quiet, calm before this.
We just said about trades and that unwritten rule they don't want big. Maybe that announcement has to wait till the playoffs are over.
It could be something to do with that.
Huge news. That's going to be huge news. That's the kind of news that
breaking NHL news with that.
That's huge news. That's the kind of news that can outshine these playoffs because they're not that exciting.
You make a fair point, Rick. I could definitely see that being waited on until then. Like I said, though, it was announced by the SKA president of hockey ops and owner that they were going to have a decision by the end of the month. So I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, it could be all in that. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, and that's about Connor McDavid. I'm just going to put this up. McDavid's has the most points in postseason, and it says points. Is that playoffs?
Yeah, that in one playoff season is what that is.
I meant assists. That's assists. He doesn't have the most.
No, that's points. He broke the assist record actually.
Right. So why is this saying
32 assists?
Why is it saying most points in history?
No, that's the most points scored in a postseason run. So in
I'm misreading it. I'm misreading it. He's in the top 5 now. Most points in playoff history. Oddly, Wayne Gretzky's got 3 of those. So it's Oilers like all the way except for Mario Lemieux. So he's got 38 points so far. He could get more.
6 goals, 32 assists to be precise.
And Gretzky had 40, 43, and Lemieux had 44. And Gretzky's number 1 with 47 there. Okay. Is Connor McDavid legitimately one of the all-time greats?
Harry's going to hate to hear this, but yes, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. When this guy retires, I think he's going to be a no doubt about it top 5 player ever. He's going to be number 2 in points, most likely, barring injury. He's the most gifted offensive talent I've ever seen in my lifetime, and probably will be for another at least 20 plus years. I know there's another stud coming up 2 years from now, Gavin McKenna in the 2025 draft. We'll talk about him more next year, who's supposed to be potentially even better than Connor Bedard from what I've been hearing. But again, that's future down the line. I don't think any of these guys are going to quite hit McDavid's level of stature and talent.
It doesn't matter because it's still, is he going to be one of the all-time greats?
When I say that now,
like,
yes, I think.
And I don't mean like he has to be a top 5 all time. You know, there were a lot of great hockey players.
I know what the question is.
But is he in that top group?
Yes, absolutely.
Pretty easy to say
that.
When I think it's all done, he'll be 4.
Until he wins a cup, I can't put him in my top 5.
Oh no, that's a fair analysis.
You know what I mean? And that's just because I feel like in order to really be in that top 5 greatest of all time, like you have to have at least a cup. Like for
I'd
me,
say that assuming he's going to get.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing like Rick. Like when we talk about like Carey Price getting if he ever gets his jersey retired. Well, the thing is, if you look at the guys that have their jerseys retired in the Bell Center, they all won cups, right? So it's just one of those things where is he one of the all-time greats? Absolutely, without a doubt. You know, but I can't put him in that like top 5 echelon unless he wins a cup.
That's fair. I absolutely agree with that take. That's fair. I say what I say, assuming he's gonna win at least one. I think he's gonna get at least 2 personally.
No, listen, I think you're even if he doesn't win a cup, he's up there.
I think he's
not a top 5. He's not gonna unseat one of those guys on the as they say, Mount Rushmore guys. He's not going to unseat unless.
I mean, I can give you my top 5 right now. It's in order: or Gretzky, Lemieux, Lafleur, and I actually don't really have a 5th. That's my Mount Rushmore.
Messier.
Who?
Messier.
No, Messier. No.
Really? Wow.
So, yeah, and I
can even argue Crosby already too. But
I love Lafleur, and I don't have him in the top 5. I don't know if he's in the top 5. Now, if I would put Richard or Beliveau in there, then I'd have to have Lafleur because I do believe Lafleur was the greatest Hab. But I don't know. I don't know. It's confusing in my head right now. So stop it.
Enough, right?
Don't
I think that like between those 3 guys, Lafleur, Beliveau, and Richard, you can make an argument.
Yeah, you know what?
Any one of those 3 being in the top 5 greatest of all time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
for me, same way I say
he's the greatest Canadian of all time. That's why he's there for me. But like Lafleur and Beliveau and Richard are like 6 and 7. Or you know what I mean? Like
who's more legendary though? Like if you're gonna look at who's the more legendary, that legend, then it's Richard or Beliveau.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? Yeah. Okay, we got off track.
I can't get my top 5 ever.
No, because we're not talking about that, and we're running out. Look, it's your time that we're gonna.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, continue, Rick.
Okay, so I think we can all agree, Connor McDavid is one of the all-time greats. Is he in that top echelon? Well, he's going to need to win a cup or 2.
I agree with that
to get in there, but he's up there, and you can legitimately, talk about him there. And if somebody really wants to say, they can make a good argument for it, even if he doesn't win.
I would never. I'd never have an issue if someone did have him in their top 5. I think it's fine.
He's a special talent, whether you like him or not.
He retires today. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, whether you like him or not, the kid is a special talent, and will get is deserving of that. Okay, so speaking of him, and we're near the end, but I wanted to bring it in well before so you guys can get your stuff done. Who should win the Conn Smythe here in this playoffs? Connor McDavid or Sergei Bobrovsky?
I'll let Matt go first.
Depends on how many more games we get. If this thing goes to 7, regardless of the outcome, McDavid, because it's going to be on the back of Connor McDavid. If it ends tomorrow night, Sergei Bobrovsky. I think. Because the first 3 games, he was absolutely lights out. Like, he was a rock star. Like, unbeatable, honestly.
Bob,
he was
yeah,
Bob.
And the previous series, too.
Yeah.
He
even against Boston, he played. He had a pretty decent playoffs. The last 2 rounds, he's been unstoppable. Or pretty much borderline, unstoppable.
He stole literally
that guy anyway.
He stole literally a number. Columbus, I think.
No, we did.
Philadelphia. Oh yeah, that's right. The Flyers traded him to Columbus.
We picked Bobrovsky over Brizgalov.
Right.
One of the worst decisions this franchise ever made.
Yeah.
I mean, we picked Brzgalov over Bobrovsky.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Listen, if the first one come up, if the Oilers win the cup, without a doubt, it's McDavid, because McDavid will be the reason why.
I mean, it's going to be on his back. The only chance they have is if he throws the team on his back and goes superhuman. That's the only chance they have.
And if they win the cup, there's no way Bob's going to get it, because then that's a hell of a collapse.
Right.
And I don't think we give the guy the Conn Smythe for that. So, yes, if tomorrow it's over, Bob wins the Conn Smythe. If it goes 6 or 7, McDavid's definitely going to be right there.
If it goes 6, it's a legitimate argument. If it goes 7, it's McDavid.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. If it's 5, it's Bob. If it's 6, it's a legitimate argument. You could go either way.
Fair.
I'm going to be honest. I think those two
are the top two. He's got to carry him.
I think those two are the top two. I think Alexander Barkov deserves a little bit of mention.
He's been very good this series.
Lights out.
I don't.
You know what? I'll say this. What if hypothetically Bob has another bad game 5, and they wrap it up in 6, and Barkov's a big part of those two? I mean,
if Barkov
does he get an argument? He's been fantastic.
If Barkov does something like that in the next game or two, yeah. Other than that, I don't think he's played well, all that, but not to overshadow Bob and not to overshadow McDavid. I don't think he gets there. So yeah, I mentioned.
Yeah, but I mean, but I think what or at least kind of what I see you getting at. Like I think Barkov's probably that third option if you had to pick a third. Option.
You got 3 guys. If you got 3 guys and go, these are the guys that are good finalists.
Yeah,
Barkov is mentioned there, but I don't think he wins.
Yeah, I think he is third too. But I mean, I don't think the door is 100% shut on him. Is my point.
No, because there's still hockey to play. There's still hockey to play. So.
Hypothetically, say Edmonton wins 5-4 tomorrow, and Bobrovsky goes like 19 of 23 and lets in 2 softies or something like that, and it goes to Game 6 back to Edmonton, and they wrap it up, and Barkov has another very good game. I think he gets a bit of an argument or something like that.
Yeah,
and I mean, that's why I wouldn't say it's definitely done. I think right now it's Bobrovsky, and as Matt said, if it goes 6 or 7, and McDavid is likely a big part of it, I tend to agree with him. I think he's probably the likely candidate regardless of the end result.
Yeah, they can't get to 6 or 7, and not because McDavid. It has to be McDavid. Has to be
that's their only shot that they have. He's got to go superhuman.
Yeah,
but
they're going to go
like if it goes 6, right, and say like even if Bob goes maybe 20 for 23 or something like that, but like say Barkov scores like a hat trick.
Yeah.
To lead, and to win the game or something like that, then I think you can make an argument for Barkov then. But I think right now it's Bob.
You can vice versa that in a way. Skinner shits the bed, but McDavid keeps them in the game, even though they don't win. But you know what I mean? So
exactly. Like I said, I think it's between those 3 guys. No one else in this series really
it's between those 3 guys. Nobody in the playoffs, all the playoffs, have matched what they've done. I agree.
Agreed.
So we agreed. All right. So what's coming up? We are doing the pod because we're going to be going soon to a summer schedule. But because the draft is here, we're going to be doing one before the draft. We're going to be doing a pod right after the draft. And then we're going to take, I think it's a week off. And then we're going to go every 2 weeks until September and training camps roll around. And we'll start up again on a weekly basis. So that's what's coming up. I don't think we can add anything more to this. So we're going to bid you all adieu. And thank you for watching. We do appreciate it. If you have any kind of comments, you want to maybe some ideas for the next show or questions you have, leave them in the comments in the comment section down there. Or you can email us. The email addresses and all that are in the description. What else do I want to add? Nothing much. Just thanks for being there. We really appreciate it. We're at episode 30, and you guys are a big part of that. Otherwise, why are we even doing this? So thanks for being there. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, stay safe out there, everybody. Peace out. And for these 2 guys up there, have a great week. And we'll
Let's go Celtics.
The Celtics are the balls.
All right, so we're going to advertise for the Habnormals podcast on our way out.